Okay, I thought this would be fun. I planted this field here with Sudan grass. You know, when I was kidding around about how it sounds so African, you know, Sudan. And it reminds me of the Serengeti. I've never been there or anything, but it just sounds fun. Well, it was as dry around here this summer as the Serengeti. I guess the Serengeti is pretty dry from my recollection from watching National Geographic when I was a kid. But this field, I planted Sudan grass in it, and it was so dry that nothing happened with it. And really, we have not had rain. It's been bad. It just goes around us whenever it comes. And a lot of the corn around here is not doing good. So we've had to irrigate a lot this year just to make things work. But this field is not irrigated. And what you're seeing over there, you know, I don't like to call things weeds, but those are weeds. I could turn some pigs in here and I could get those cleaned up, but I didn't want to. I wanted a forage here. See, my cows are up there. And I wanted a forage here that I could get them started on a forage early or late. You know, I've got plenty of forage out in the fields, but I want to cultivate stuff that'll come in early and then stay late. And Sudan grass would have done that. It would have stayed late, is what I'm told. But I tried it twice, and it failed twice. But let's talk failures here in this Homestead model. You know, I've got my handy dandy rotavator going here. And look at the tremendous amount of green manure, we'll call that. That's what they call green manure. The tremendous amount of lush green stuff. I mean, in the face of severe drought that we've had here. We've had 1.25 inches all summer long. But that stuff still came up. And it's doing quite well. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting it down. So a lot of times the way this is done is with a plow, you know, one bottom plow, and you can have an oxen that you walk behind and you'll put it down about 12 inches at a time. It takes a long time. But with this, I'm putting down 6 feet at a time, and it's also chopping it up. So I've been watching it pretty closely. I knew that I did not want it to go to seed. I wanted it still supple enough that the rotavator will chop it up. I also didn't want to do it on a very dry day because there's so much dust out here. And so I'm getting some rain right now, and that's why I'm doing it. And it seemed to work out just about right. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to a trusted operation is rye. You know, I've planted rye for years, and rye really works good. And I'm actually going to be getting it in, today being the 21st, I'll be getting it in kind of early. So I'll get a really nice stand of rye. I may be able to flash graze the rye before winter. And what happens with rye, it's really neat, is the snow comes down and it fills it up. And the rye stays there and continues to stay alive and even sometimes grow. And as soon as the snow goes away, first of spring, you have all this green rye just standing there. And it's beautiful and it's lush and it's green. And then as soon as you get a little bit of warm weather, it explodes. So where I probably wouldn't graze cows until sometime in June, like the 1st of June, 16th of May is sometimes when I'm told you can do it. But June, with a field like this that's dedicated to growing forage, I don't care if they tear it up. I want them to get everything off of it. It'll give them a month head start and save a lot of the hay that I have in the barn. So that's why I'm doing it. And in the process of doing it, I'm getting a whole lot more fertility out of this ground. This ground is rich. And then maybe next year I can get some Sudan grass going. I got lots of it. There's a lot of seed out here that just never germinated. So who knows what'll happen. But rye works really well every time. The first time I did it, it worked really good in this field. And back then I had zero fertility in this field. So that's what we're doing. It's kind of interesting. It is so dry that when I make a pass with this, when I go over ground that's a little bit barer, it looks like talcum powder underneath. And you know, then it settles down with this rain. This is really nice. I've had so little rain this summer. It's just everything looks really bad. It seems like only weeds grow. A lot of the grasses have gone dormant. Normally I get 2 cuttings of hay. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I mean, I'm going to take it as it comes, but I really don't have enough growth out there to justify the diesel fuel I'd need to go out and do it. I can say, okay, we're not going to make another cutting. We'll graze it, and then I'll put about as much work into grazing the cattle, moving fences, and I want to go through that with you because it's really important to know that stuff. I've seen people totally destroy fields by just turning their cattle out in there, and I'll tell you why when we start going through that operation. And I plan to start that here soon. If I do not cut, you know, if I get to a certain point and I say that's it, we're going to put the hay and equipment away, so we power wash it and put it away, then we'll go into grazing real heavy, and we can graze this probably until snow comes, and there's enough with the amount of cows that I have right now. Okay, so we'll pick it up next time. Anyone can farm.